Hello, this is DM Rob G, and welcome to yet another one of my Let's Play of Rimworld. Now, this series is called LGBTQ History vs. Alien vs. Predator. In it, I will cover LGBTQ plus history, as well as playing a game of Rimworld. Now, Rimworld is a story generated by Tyne and Sylvester. Center of this is the Alien vs. Predator mod. In addition, I have another little mod called the Save Our Ship 2 mod. These two mods together allow me to have a ship out in space, build a ship, and then have an end game of making Archaeotech Spore. Now, at the same time, the Alien vs. Predator mod by itself adds the Xenomorphs from the Alien series and the Predator species from the Predator movies. What will end up happening is, as I play the game, I will end up going through and having to fight both these two species. And this helps break up the monotony. Now, I know that LGBTQ history can be rather difficult and painful for some, so I've elected to break up history with Rimworld. I will alternate between talking about people and the various events that they are involved in, such as Marsha P. Johnson and the Stonewall riots, as well as Freddie Mercury and the AIDS epidemic. Now, to complement these mods, there's also Dub's Bad Hygiene, the Vanilla Extended series. Now, to get this started, I will start a new colony. Now, I will actually do things different than my Black History vs. Alien vs. Predator series. I'll start on a derelict ship. I'll go with my favorite, Cassandra. Oops. She'll be on custom. Losing is fun, of course. And Collins' instant kills down to 0. Now, enemy death on down. It's going to be a 25% chance for now. I will change that later. Now, what these two do is every time a colonist is wounded, there is a chance that the colonist will be instantly killed. It could be a hit to the finger, a hit to the hand, a hit to the foot, and so forth. And the colonist will instantly die. I don't find this fun. And as far as the enemy death on down, same thing, except with enemies, as typically the only things I change. As the game gets easier or tougher, I will edit these as necessary. Next. Oh, a commitment or anytime. Reload anytime because I trust no game to not crash. I trust no power grid to keep power, and I trust no mod not to explode. Yes, I know. How about? There we go. Then I will generate. Usually I have faction control, which will let me control the different factions. Okay, so as I was saying, keep in mind I went ahead and edited all these. What I do is I typically take people from history. I name a character after them, and I do a bit of tweaking. Like I have added bisexual to Anne Bonny based on the legend that Anne Bonny and Mary Read were attracted to one another. I don't know if it's true, but I know several LGBTQ people, and they actually believe it and see it as a form of strength that they could possibly be at some point LGBTQ, so I went ahead and included them. Now, with that being said, what I intend to do is go over the history of each person and explain the major events in their life, like Freddie Mercury's activism in the AIDS epidemic. Now, some people, like Freddie Mercury, are going to have a big, long bio, with Freddie Mercury being the lead singer of Queen, arguably one of the greatest bands of all time. But with that being said, there was also someone like Heather Purser, a Native American LGBT advocate and a member of the Suquamish tribe. She pioneered same-sex marriage rights for her tribe. And I might get in her, but she will not have as big as a bio as Marsha P. Johnson, Storm DeLaverie, Freddie Mercury, Mary Reed, and so forth. Now, that being said, let's get this started. Beep. I have 8 characters going down to the planet now. Sorry, getting onto the ship now. Now, what I typically do is both play and discuss characters. Typically, I will get a lot of information. I'll get the basic information from Wikipedia and take some time to get some information from elsewhere, but because I don't have the time to spend, since I don't have time to spend 4 months on each person, my information is very basic and limited. 3 of you awake in your quiet sleep sarcophagi, stirred from slumber by an automated warning. A storm of micrometeorites has torn several breaches in your ship's hull and destroyed its Johnson Tanaka drive. Trapped in orbit above an unknown Rimworld, you must patch up your damaged ship and make long-term survival plans. Perhaps you will acquire resources by scanning orbit sites. You could also turn your sensors toward the planet's surface and scout a potential landing site for your ship. One way or another, you'll need to reinvent the technologies needed to properly repair it. Come on. Did okay. Twang! Now, first thing I will do is let's see, Storm DeLaverie. You're intelligent. Now, my plan right now is to fix something like this. And what's wrong with Anne? Oh, asthma. Oh, poor thing. Looks like someone needs a new pair of lungs. Now, my intention is to realize that I don't have that many odds of survival right now. Come on. Set fuel target level. There we go. Thank you. Now what I will do is send one of these down to that planet. But first I will take Storm. She is on construction. I will go ahead and find out where the what is it called? Find out where my hull foam is, because there's usually a batch of hull foam I can use to repair, like this biofuel refinery. Ah, there's some hull foam canister, 10. I'd go into structure, hull foam. That. That. Technically I only need one, but it looks so much better to have that. Now, since it is open to the vacuum of space, Oh, Mary's got it. Cool. Now since it's open to the vacuum of space, they need an EVA suit. Ah. More. Where are you? There you go. I've got the ship weapons right here. And I have 2 torpedo launchers. What's emergency purge port? System for channeling heat into low melting point metals like silver. Injecting molten silver into space is a costly way to quickly purge stored heat. Shields will be dropped during a purge. So dual initiative is quoted. Got it. Now what I'm thinking about doing is, actually, I need to do something. Go into menu. And dev mode, ship sizes, test map sizes, maximum number of colonies. Shush. Rimworld is designed to be played with one player colony at a time. Multiple player colonies are allowed as an experimental testing feature only. Playing with multiple colonies will cause gameplay imbalances, split your focus, as well as likely causing performance slowdowns. We recommend that you play with one colony maximum the game was designed for, at least for your first few games. Shut up. It's like my 30th game. Unfortunately, they're getting sick, so... So, here's what I'll do. If you go to manual priorities... There we go. What I can do is go into growing zones. Make some growing zones here. Make it into, say, rice. Get some pumpkins. Oh, potatoes is fine, actually. Now, I should actually... Hang on. A thought occurs. I did not have Dub's bad hygiene up here. I need to get that next game. Next game, I will have that. So I can make showers and stuff. Surprised I didn't put that in there by now. Now, while I get this set up, somebody needs to go ahead and build every wall. I harvested my first wild beehive. Woohoo! I need that brought up to speed. Okay, storm is... Let's see, scan ships, scan for info. Now, I think Storm should be fine scanning. Now what I want to do is probably go up and split my team, half down here, half up here. Sylvia has reached 3 implants. Awesome. Now typically what will happen is, as I play, I will actually allspice. Actually kind of go silent and then fill in my voice later. So I'll go with Smoke Leaf. So if I start to sound a bit louder or softer, all of a sudden that's 100% chance of what's happened. Now, as for my research, I have the semi-random mod, or semi-random research mod, where it takes all available research options and randomizes them. Alright, so now that we got that out of the way, I'm gonna go ahead and pick some of my technologies. Basically what I'm going to go for is the Devil Strand. Now I have, as you can see, I have 8 people here. I have Marsha P. Johnson, Freddie Mercury, Anne Bonny, and Mary Reed, as well as Storm De La Verie, Sylvia Rivera, Courtney Ryan Ziegler, and Heather Purser. Now Freddie Mercury is gonna take a lot of my time, so I will actually go ahead and do some of the smaller profiles first. Now, with that being said, I went ahead and had to record this after I recorded the video, so if the sound is a bit off, I am sorry about that. But Marsha P. Johnson was born on August 24th, 1945, and died on July 6th, 1992. She was an American gay liberation activist and self-identified drag queen, known as an outspoken advocate for gay rights. Johnson was one of the prominent figures in the Stonewall Uprising in 1969. Johnson was a founding member of the Gay Liberation Front and co-founded the radical activist group Street Transvestite Action Revolutionaries, or STAR, alongside her close friend Sylvia Rivera. I'm sorry. Johnson was also a popular figure in New York's gay and art scene, modeling for Andy Warhol and performing on stage with the drag performance troupe Hot Peaches. Johnson was known as the mayor of Christopher Street due to being a welcoming presence on the streets of Greenwich Village. From 1987 to 1992, Johnson was also an AIDS activist with ACT UP. Now, the Stonewall Uprising of 1969 was a defining moment in gay rights history. It is known as the Stonewall Uprising and Stonewall Rebellion. They were a series of spontaneous demonstrations by the members of the gay community in response to a police raid that began in the early morning hours of June 28, 1969 at the Stonewall Inn in the Greenwich Village neighborhood of Manhattan, New York City. Patrons of Stonewall, other village lesbian and gay bars in the neighborhood street people fought back when the police became violent. The riots were widely considered to constitute one of the most important events leading to the gay liberation movement in the 20th century fight for LGBT rights in the United States. Now you have to understand that in the 1960s, there was a heavy anti-gay legal system. Early homosexual groups in the US sought to prove that gay people could be assimilated into society, and they favored non-confrontational education for homosexuals and heterosexuals alike. The last 2 years of the 1960s, however, were contentious as many social and political movements were active, including the Civil Rights Movement, the counterculture of the 1960s, and the anti-Vietnam War movement. These influences, along with the progressive environment of the Greenwich Village, served as catalyst for the Stonewall riots. Very few establishments in the 1960s actually welcomed gay people. These establishments that did were often bars run by organized crime groups due to the illegal nature of gay or LGBT bars at the time, and bar owners and managers were very rarely gay themselves. At the time, the Stonewall Inn was actually owned by the Mafia. It catered to an assortment of patrons, and was also known to be popular among the poorest and most marginalized people in the gay community: the butch lesbians, effeminate young men, drag queens, male prostitutes, transgender people, and the homeless youth. While police raids on gay bars were routine in the 1960s, officers quickly lost control of the situation at the Stonewall Inn on June 28th. Tension between the New York police and gay residents of Greenwich Village erupted into more protests the next evening and again several nights later. Within weeks, village residents quickly organized into activist groups to concentrate efforts on establishing places for gay men and lesbians to be open about their sexual orientation without fear of being arrested. That was a long sentence. Anyway, after the Stonewall riots, gay men and lesbians in New York City faced gender, race, and class and generational obstacles to forming a cohesive community. Within 6 months, 2 gay activist organizations were formed in New York, concentrating on confrontational tactics, and 3 newspapers were established to promote rights for gay men and lesbians. A year after the uprising, to mark the anniversary, on June 28, 1970, the first gay pride marches took place in New York, LA, and San Francisco. The anniversary of the riots also commemorated in Chicago, and similar marches were organized in other cities. Within a few years, gay rights organizations were founded across the US and the world. The Stonewall National Monument was established at the site in 2016. Today, LGBT pride events are held annually throughout the world toward the end of June to mark the Stonewall riots. Stonewall 50, New York Pride NYC 2019 commemorated the 50th anniversary of the Stonewall uprising, with city officials estimating 55 million attendees in Manhattan. And on June 6, 2019, New York City Police Commissioner James P. O'Neill rendered a formal apology on behalf of New York Police Department for the actions of its officers at Stonewall in 1969. Well, that took a lot out of me. You would think that reading from a Wikipedia page really wasn't that bad, but here we are. Now, as for Marsha P. Johnson herself, Johnson was actually the first of many drag queens to go to the Stonewall Inn, and after they began allowing women and drag queens inside, it was previously a bar for only gay men. On the morning hours of June 28, 1969, the Stonewall uprising occurred. While the first 2 nights of rioting were the most intense, clashes with police will result in a series of spontaneous demonstrations and marches to the gay neighborhoods of Greenwich Village for roughly a week afterwards. Johnson had been named, along with Zazu Nova and Jackie Hormana, by a number of the Stonewall veterans interviewed by David Carter in his book, Stonewall Riots. Stonewall, the riots that sparked the gay revolution, as being 3 individuals known to have been in the vanguard of the pushback against the police uprising. Johnson, however, denied starting the uprising. In 1987, Johnson recalled that arriving around 2 in the morning, the riots had already started. By that time, the Stonewall building was on fire after the police set it on fire. The riots reportedly started around 1:20 in the morning after Storm de Laverie fought back against the police officer who attempted to arrest her that night. Carter writes that Robin Souza had reported to fellow Stonewall veterans and gay activists such as Morty Manford and Marty Robinson, had told Souza that on the first night, Johnson threw a shot glass at a mirror in the torched bar, screaming, "I got my civil rights." Souza told the Gay Activists Alliance shortly afterwards that it was the shot glass heard around the world. Carter, however, concluded that Robinson had given several different accounts of that night, and in none of the accounts was Johnson's name brought up, possibly in fear that publicity credited the uprising to Johnson. Then Johnson's well-known mental state and gender nonconforming could have been used effectively by the movement's opponents. The alleged shot glass incident has also been heavily disputed. Prior to Carter's book, it was claimed that Johnson had thrown a brick at a police officer, an account that was never verified. Johnson confirmed not being present at the Stonewall Inn when the rioting broke out, but instead heard about it and went to get Sylvia Rivera, who was at a park uptown sleeping on a bench, to tell her about it. However, many have corroborated that on the second night, Johnson climbed up on a lamppost, dropped a bag with a brick down on a police car, shattering the windshield. Following the Stonewall uprising, Johnson joined the Gay Liberation Front and was active as in the GLF Drag Queen Caucus on the first anniversary of Stonewall Rebellion on June 28, 1970. Johnson marched in the first gay pride rally, then called Christopher Street Liberation Day. One of Johnson's most notable direct actions occurred in August 1970, staging a sit-in protest at Weinstein Hall at New York University alongside fellow GLF members after administrators canceled a dance when they found out it was sponsored by gay organizations. Shortly after that, close friend Sylvia Rivera co-founded the Street Transvestite Action Revolutionaries organization. Two of them became a visible presence at gay liberation marches and other radical political actions. In 1973, Johnson and Rivera were banned from participating in the Gay Pride Parade by gay and lesbian community, who were administering the event, saying they weren't going to allow drag queens at their marches, claiming they were giving them a bad name. Their response was to march defiantly ahead of the parade. Drop that. Their response was to march defiantly ahead of the parade during a gay rights rally in New York City Hall. I have to watch my time because, well, I got plenty. Now, where was I? Oh, yes, in 1973. During a gay rights rally in New York City. At New York City Hall in the early 70s, photographed by Diana Davries, a reporter asked Johnson why the group was demonstrating. Johnson shouted into the microphone, "Darling, I want my gay rights now." Oh, come back. Oh, editing software, I hate you. I love and hate you. Now, during another incident around this time, Johnson was confronted by police officers for hustling in New York. When the officers attempted to perform an arrest, Johnson hit them with a handbag which contained 2 bricks. You know, now that I think about it, what I should do is make bricks a weapon in the game and just give them to Marsha. I'm sure she'd enjoy that. When asked by the judge for an explanation for hustling, Johnson claimed to be trying to secure enough money for a tombstone for Johnson's husband. During that time, when same-sex marriage was illegal in the U.S., the judge asked what happened to this alleged husband, and Johnson responded, "Pig shot it." Initially sentenced to 90 days in prison for the assault, Johnson's lawyer eventually convinced the judge that Bellevue Hospital would be more suitable. With Riviera, Johnson established the Star House, a shelter for gay and trans street kids, in 1972, and paid the rent with it for money they made themselves as sex workers. While the house was not focused on performance, Johnson was a drag mother of Star House in a long-standing tradition of chosen family in the Black and Latino LGBT community. Johnson provided food, clothing, and emotional support and a sense of family for the young drag queens, trans women, gender nonconformists, and other gay street kids living on the Christopher Street docks or on their house in the Lower East Side of New York. In the 1980s, Johnson continued to play an active part in street activism as respected organizer and marshal with ACT UP. Keep in mind, ACT UP is the AIDS coalition to unleash power. It is an international grassroots political group working to end the AIDS pandemic. In 1992, when George Sagai's Stonewall Memorial was moved to Christopher Street from Ohio to recognize the gay liberation movement, Johnson commented, "How many people have died for these two little statues to be put in the park to recognize gay people? How many years does it take for people to see that we're all brothers and sisters and human beings in the human race? I mean, how many years does it take for people to see that we're all in the same rat race together?" Now, Johnson herself let's see. Hang on, give me a moment. Give me a moment. Learning about her death. Shortly after the 1992 Pride Parade, Johnson's body was discovered floating in the Hudson River. Police initially ruled the death as a suicide, but Johnson's friends and members of the local community insisted that Johnson was not suicidal. They noted that the back of Johnson's head had a massive wound. According to Sylvia Rivera, their friend Bob Coher believed that Johnson had committed suicide due to an ever-increasing fragile state, which Rivera herself disputed, claiming she and Johnson had made a pact to cross the River Georgeson, aka Hudson River, together. Those who were close to Johnson considered the death suspicious. Many claimed that while Johnson did struggle mentally, this did not manifest itself as suicidal tendencies. Randy Ricker later said that Johnson may have hallucinated and walked into the river, may have jumped to escape harassers, but stated that Johnson was never suicidal. Several people came forward to say that they had seen Johnson harassed by a group of thugs who also robbed people. According to Wicker, witnesses saw a neighborhood resident fighting with Johnson on July 4th, 1992. During the fight, he used a homophobic slur and later bragged to someone at a bar that he had killed a drag queen named Marcia. Witness said that when he tried to tell the police what he had seen, his story was ignored. Locals stated later that law enforcement was not interested in investigating Marcia's death, stating that the case was about a gay black man wanting little to do with it. Johnson was cremated, and following a funeral at the local church, friends released Johnson's ashes into the river. Police allowed 7th Avenue to be closed while Johnson's ashes were carried to the river. In December of 2002, a police investigation resulted in reclassification of Johnson's cause of death from suicide to undetermined. Former New York politician Tom Duane fought to reopen the case because usually when there's death by suicide, the person usually leaves a note. She didn't leave a note. In November of 2012, activist Mariah Lopez succeeded in getting the New York Police Department to reopen the case as a possible homicide. 2016, Victoria Cruz of the Anti-Violence Project also tried to get Johnson's case reopened, succeeded, gaining access to previously unreleased documents and witness statements. She sought out new interviews with witnesses, friends, and other activists, police who had worked the case or had been on the force at the time of Johnson's probable murder. Some of her work to find justice for Johnson was filmed by David France for the 2017 documentary, The Death and Life of Martha P. Johnson. Freddie, Marsha, and Mary. Oh, I would take one of these, but I can't seem to uninstall them without the technology. So, yay! So, as I was saying, whoops. I'll need that in his emergency escape pod, just in case. Okay, so I'm thinking. See, what I need them to do is go down to the surface. What I need is a lot of these down on the surface. So what I'm thinking I will do is, since I don't have that technology, I can get steel though. Take that flak vest down there and accept. Are you armed? No. Go ahead and grab a knife. A knifey. You're armed. Marsha is... Oh, she's now armed. Sylvia, I believe I sent. Oh shoot, I should have sent the silver too. Oh well. Oh well. If I run into the ship, I'll need it. Into another ship, trade ship, I'll need it. Transport pods ready. Launch. Launch. Now, where shall I go? Oh no, I didn't mean to. Ah, fug. Nuts. Well, at least they're among friends. Probably have to end up doing a short jump to get to... somewhere else. Is that a good place at least? Let's see. Terrain. Oh, year-round growing, so that's good. Marble, granite, and limestone. Oh well. At this point, I'm going to say that I need all the likes and comments I can get. Jeez, hurry up, guys. Whee! Thunk. Caravans have run out of fuel. I can sell the ambrosia. Hi. You know what? We're probably going to send the sell the flak vest. Oops. I can sell the shuttles too. Wow, really? Interesting. 35 each is a bit better. Come on. Oh, crap. I was hoping to not sell the shuttles, but I guess I don't have a choice. Really? Wait, they're not willing to buy that anymore? Because I got activated. Okay, so let me try something. Load game. 13 minutes ago. Well, nuts. I think I've just screwed myself. Because there'll be a mobile if I were to just move them. Yeah, see, they've run out of fuel. They're immobile. Trade. Huh. Well, I'll buy some food at least. I have food. Okay, so this deep fried sushi, which seems like a weird phrase to say, honestly. I mean, why would you deep fry sushi? So 1, 2. So 1, 2, 3, 4. I'll move there. Uh-oh. I got ambushed by manhunting cats. Cats are vicious. Hi, I see you. I understand that you aren't vicious. Got it. Okay, get caravan moving. Reform. Now, with that being said, Monday and Tuesday, I plan to have Black History vs. Alien vs. Predator on Tuesday, Thursday, and Gay History vs. Alien vs. Predator on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, with a special game on Saturday. I think Civ 6 and possibly Warhammer 2. And possibly Warhammer 2. Now, as soon as I get them to settle, bad news, most of you are gonna die. If we go into combat. If. What you doing, Freddy? Meditating? Let's see. That's a lot of weight. Chem fuel needed for takeoff. 49,021. Wow. Or 4,921. Oh, a bit more. There we go. No issues in generating the map. Tappa, 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 tappa. And this is our new colony. But for now, everyone, please have fun. Ooh, some gold, some steel. Everyone, please have fun. And visit your local library because LGBTQ history is our history. And if we forget it, bad things happen. Like we forget large portions of our history. That's a bad thing. And everyone, please have fun. Let's see who. Stonewall Rioters. If that works. Options. Actually, I can go to dev mode real quick. Shush! Name settlement. Faction base. Stonewall, that works. There we go, I got that taken care of. Does it name the ship too, or what goes on here? Ooh. Land ship Stonewall. Oh, okay, so I have to make a colony first. Okay, I see. So everyone, please have fun, visit your local library, and don't forget to leave a like and a comment. Because that really helps my metrics and helps me get out to more people. Aw, that's nice. Now, have fun.